visiting a new city can get the most out of your stay and not miss any of the most interesting spots, it's best to be prepared. So we put together a list of 15 bests to explore and some of the greatest. Let us be your guide, sharing with you 15 travel bests in Tucson. Of the U.S.-Mexican border. The city has a population of about 500,000, with a greater metropolitan area of a little over 1,075. War was capital of the Confederate Arizona Territory and is today one of the fastest growing cities in the. Together a list of bests, the most beautiful and interesting things to see and do while you visit. So let's get started. We do miles or 15 kilometers south of downtown Tucson. No record of the builders and artisans is known. The Moorish-inspired design features a domed roof with masonry vaults and a gorgeous ornate entrance. The traditional plaster breathes better than the... Stepping out of the desert heat into the cool interior, one is immediately... The southwestern creation. If you would like to time your visit with a mass, it can be easily done, as there are masses 7 days a week and 4 on Sundays. The mission provides food for the soul. Center of old downtown Tucson is where you'll find El Charro Cafe, located at 311 North Court Avenue. This is the oldest Mexican restaurant anywhere in the United States and is still owned and operated world for a taste of El Charro's delicious traditional food. Many dishes feature El Charro's art and family photographs, adding to the casual Southwest atmosphere. The fresh-made guacamole and crisp tortilla chips will prepare your appetite for your choice of main dish. Salsa for a memory you can savor. For a taste of Tucson from the family that has arrived in Tucson, and there are many more bests on our list. Let's continue our tour of the 15 bests that Tucson has to offer. The Foundation's veins advance north through this area. Let's head to the corner of North and visit the reconstruction of a part of the adobe brick fort. The last of the original fort was torn down in 1918 on a site under several blocks of what is now downtown. Protected residents from Apache raiders who were after the animals and tools brought by the Spanish, who at the same time disrupted Apache trading relationships with the Pueblos of New Mexico. As the Spanish pushed north, the Apache would defend their land, the Spanish would retaliate, and so on. This warfare between the Spanish and the Apache would continue off and on for over 150 years. The conflict outlasted the Spanish Empire, continuing through Mexico's rule over Tucson and on into the American period. When archaeologists were excavating the Presidio, they also came upon the remains of an even older around a central fire pit. This was the kind of structure that a family would use for shelter about 2,000 years ago. The Spanish unknowingly built the east wall of the Presidio over the edge of the pit house. Around the various exhibits and help you to learn about Tucson's history. To imagine what life was like here more than 2 centuries ago, a trip to the Presidio San Agustin del Tucson is high on our list of Tucson's best. In past is still clearly visible in its architecture. Let's have a look at... This desert pink Spanish colonial-styled structure was erected in 1928, and there is a large front courtyard with a columned and arched arcade. Perhaps the building's most striking feature is the colorful mosaic dome. The Arizona Supreme Court at Pima County is right next door, and the dramatically styled Pima County Public Library is right across the street. The first Pima County Courthouse was a single-story adobe structure built on this site in 1868. It was replaced. The second courthouse stood until 1928, when it was removed to make way for the graceful Spanish colonial that stands here now. You can admire the historic courthouse from all sides. Be sure to take a stroll through El Presidio Park behind the building. Here you'll find a statue commemorating the arrival of the Mormon Battalion in Tucson on their grueling march from Iowa to California to fight in the Mexican-American War. As the historic courthouse. To learn about the great history of this, we'll take a stroll through one of Tucson's most colorful neighborhoods. To visit a very colorful part of Tucson. Just south of West Broadway Boulevard, a place called... This collection of adobe and wood-framed buildings are... This area was designed to resemble a Mexican marketplace and surrounds a pleasant central courtyard and green space. You can pause for a meal or just sit and catch a breeze in the dry, arid... La Placita Village is where you'll find the Tucson Visitor Center. Here you'll find up-to-the-minute information of special events and shows. Enjoy this place after the sun has set. In the evenings, movies are. You'll find a brick-based This is the site where the San Diego. For a quick bite to eat, a little information from the town. Let's head a few blocks east to the train station. The hotel was designed by architect Roy Place and is the ground floor of the hotel is where you'll find some of The Cup Cafe is a wonderful place to come for musicians who entertain the crowd with a little light jazz or the like. The atmosphere in the taproom bar is relaxed and original. This local watering hole is popular with more than just the people staying at the hotel. Tucson has seen its share of gunfighters and outlaws back in the days of the Wild West, but a few came through here a little later than that as well. The Hotel Congress is hiding out at the hotel under assumed names when a fire broke out and forced them into the streets. The sharp-eyed fireman recognized the man and reported today the Hotel Congress proudly displays its history, and although the only outlaws here are on the walls, reasons to visit Tucson. Earlier, we've San Agustin, where the first Christian chapel in Tucson was ever built. Let's head over now to 192 South Stone Avenue, where the parish's... This Roman Catholic church was completed in 1897, with the original only parts left standing when a 1960s restoration completely rebuilt the cathedral and created the building that you see today. The stone facade bears the coat of arms of Pope Pius XI, the pontiff at the time it was built. Also present above the main door are desert plants and a cross and anchor, the symbols of faith and hope. There are 3 services each Sunday, but in our opinion, the 8 a.m. Mass is the one to see. And emerge here in very well-attended services. As you listen to the music, you can admire the beautiful interior of the cathedral. The crucifix, the stained glass in the cathedral, includes the 8 original windows from the old cathedral. These were made in Germany, experiencing a southwestern take on the Roman Catholic faith, a trip to San Agustin. One of the best ways to remember your trips to exciting new places is to take a few photos of the native wildlife. The Arizona Sonora Desert Museum, located a few miles west of downtown, finds of plants. History Museum, and a gorgeous desert botanic through the different enclosures and displays. One of the most popular habitats here is, and you can get amazingly close for some pictures that you'll be happy to show off when you get home. Where they climb to seek refuge. Water is rare and precious in the desert, and no one seems happier to see it than the river otters who delight visitors. Which runs daily from October.
Example of one of those raptors. A beautiful.
On windy and rainy days, many raptors can still be seen on glove at the site.
Harris's hawk, a common bird to the desert.
You'll be able to see a little similar bones of mammoth brought down by the stone-tipped speed. The knowledgeable staff and many four-footed residents of the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum place it high on our... There are several things to see and do in Tucson, southeast on Highway 10, and get off at Valencia Road for a visit to the Pima Air and Space Museum. Any fans of aircraft in the family will be sure to put a visit to the museum high on their list of must-sees. Here, you can see more than 300 of the most historically important and technically advanced aircraft ever produced. The dry desert is the perfect place to store the collection, as the climate does not encourage oxidation. The windows and engines have been sealed to protect them from sun and dust, but apart from that, the vast majority of the collection appear ready to be dusted off and put back into service. Actus Hopper will take you around the outdoor exhibits as the driver points out interesting. There are This is a truly vast collection that'll please any aircraft aficionado. Inside, out of the desert sun. Yeah. Shining biplanes from the 30s and 40s. The museum proudly displays a Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, capable of traveling 3 times the speed of sound. It served as a strategic reconnaissance. Helicopters, jets, and propeller aircraft are all perfectly preserved and here for you to see. So make sure you have lots of room on your memory card for pictures and a good hat for the sun, and plan a visit to Tucson's Pima Air and Space Museum. Welcome back to Tucson, Arizona. The clear desert skies over Tucson make for some wonderful stargazing conditions at night. It's its way up to the 2,096-meter or 6,876-foot top of Kitt Peak and the impressive installations. And the workings of the huge telescopes installed here lessens the chance of light pollution from other light sources that could spoil the images made here. About 24 telescopes on the mountain, including the massive 4-meter Mayal telescope, housed in its quarter century since its construction. Here, you'll also see the world's largest solar telescope, which is capable of producing very detailed images of the surface of our sun. The top of Kitt Peak offers some beautiful views of the Sonora Desert as well, especially at sunset. It is dark. The huge telescopes peer into the distant universe and create spectacular images of distant worlds. Since it was founded in 1958 as the first national observatory, Kitt Peak has provided its proposals are submitted and the winning teams are granted observation time. and make a discovery of your own. If you're the kind who prefers to keep your feet on the ground and get to know the planet we're already on, then our next stop will be sure to please. Tucson to the east, just a few minutes from downtown. Tour of the canyon on an open tram. The tour takes about 45 minutes and covers about 4 miles, or roughly 6.5 kilometers of trails in the Santa Catalina Mountains. You can hop on or off the tram at any of the 9 stops and head out on your own. There are a variety of trails that range from easygoing to more challenging terrain. 12,000 years ago, huge Columbian mammoth grazed here. An archaeologist, small town named Mammoth, a little further up the valley. Some of the earliest humans to live here were the Hohokam people, who lived in pit houses, not unlike the one we saw earlier at the Presidio Santa. Wildlife in the canyon includes deer. Forests on Mount Lemmon. During the winter and summer rainy seasons, pools of water form among the rocks and nourish hillsides, and prickly pear. The U.S. Forest Service was first created in 1905 and began overseeing Sabino Canyon. The bridges and paved road were built during the 30s, although vehicle access is now restricted to the trams in order to facilitate hikers and cyclists. Sabino Canyon's combination of water sources, amazing views, and abundant wildlife make it one of the most beautiful hiking spots in Arizona and puts it high on our list. Safe to say, we've already seen some of the natural beauty of Arizona on this visit to Tucson. Now, let's have a look at some of the man-made objects of beauty to be found in this region. Tubac, Arizona, a charming little town 45 miles or 70 kilometers south of Tucson, is known as the place where art and history meet. First established in 1752, it was one of the stops on the Camino Real, the royal road from Mexico to the Spanish settlements in... The old Presidio is long gone. This location raids over the years and was even abandoned for a short time by the Sonoran Mexicans in the 1840s. Them are in the art business. Clearly a great influence on the artists here. And furniture. The Dia de los Muertos, the day in shops. Mexican food with a modern touch is reasonably priced and served with a smile. Make a quick visit to St. Anne's Catholic Church. This modest old church has a distinctly southwestern feel to it and is decorated with many local works of art. Just like at St. Augustine Cathedral, Our Lady of Guadalupe is featured prominently. Bring back a few things with you. The pass up, and there's sure to be much appreciated gifts when you return from your trip to Tucson. Have you ever danced with a cowboy? We'll show a place for you to try them out. Located on the east side of downtown, the Cactus Moon is all about one thing: fun on a big scale. The club has a giant sound system that cranks out music for dancing every night of the week. Always plenty of cowboy hats in the crowd and plenty of boots. It's not unusual to hear a little pop, rock, and rap worked into the mix as well. Seems that anything goes as long as you're having fun, as well as a good time. Just do-see-do, while others are obviously just here for a laugh. You can impress your friends with your new moves when you get home. You haven't got a 10-gallon hat to top off your dancing outfit. There's a store right on the premises that carries a full line of appropriate Western headgear to complete your look. Cactus Moon, one of the best times in Tucson. We've heard a few stories of Apache raiders, gunfighters, and the old Wild West. But there's a place near Tucson that is probably the best known of all the frontier towns. Tombstone, Arizona. Founded in 1879 in Cochise County, the town was named for its original mining claim, and within 2 years had grown from a few tents to a town with 6,000 men working the mines and spending their salaries in the more than 100 saloons, gambling halls, and brothels that sprang up here. Cattle, alcohol, and tobacco heavily as it crossed the border. As a result, the smuggling business took off, and the airy environment that gave way to the famous gunfight at the OK Corral, when Marshal Virgil Earp faced off against armed men with Wyatt and Morgan Earp and Doc Holliday. It wasn't until 1931, when Wyatt Earp's biography was published, that this tale of good versus evil in the Old West, where the bodies of many a man slain by gunfire now rest, including the 3 shot at the OK Corral. The attraction of Tombstone is knowing that you have walked the same dusty streets as the famous gunslingers of the Wild West here in the place they call the town too tough to die. For visitors, there's even a nighttime ghost tour. (110 East Pennington Street), the Cafe Poca Cosa. The name Poca Cosa translates as little thing, but the flavors served up here are no small thing at all. This gorgeous restaurant offers imaginative Mexican cuisine. The menu changes twice a day and is presented to diners on a chalkboard. Cafe Poca Cosa is always busy, so calling ahead means everything she prepares is passion, and it shows in the artfully presented finished product.
Muchos chiles, muy sabroso. La comida mexicana es lo mejor, muy sabroso.
Susanna's amazing has been called the best on the planet.
Una margarita de México del Café Poca Cosa. Gracias. Ay, 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 qué rico.
Complete without the spice and flavor of authentic Mexican food. And the way we see it, you won't find any better than the delicious meals offered at Cafe Poca Cosa. Clearly, one of Tucson's bests. We hope you've enjoyed our hurried visit to Tucson. We're already planning our next trip to another exciting city, and we're preparing our next list of bests, so keep...